Hello, welcome to the BiG Scuba Show.
Today's episode is sponsored by Narked at 90, so let's find out a bit more about them. Narked at 90, their tagline has been beyond technical, which describes them pretty well. John Routley and Brent Hudson launched the company over 20 years ago. They are both technical divers who have logged thousands of mixed gas dives between them over a 30-year period. Using their engineering know-how and diving expertise, have developed bespoke, personal, commercial and military diving equipment and products of a universally recognised, unparalleled calibre.
Their ability to be adaptive and versatile with their developments led them to support the NHS during COVID. Using their superior knowledge of breathing and oxygen monitoring systems to help develop emergency ventilators. They also design and supply the sneaky stuff used by defence-based development groups throughout the Western world, although they can't tell us much about that. If you're thinking of moving across to tech diving or completely new to diving, Narked at 90 can advise and guide on the best equipment and setup for your personal or commercial requirements. Narked at 90 have unparalleled experience of sheer water dive computers and are the longest serving and sole and UK European service centre for those. They are happy to offer technical support, servicing, repairs and upgrades to all sheer water computers, past and present. Narked at 90 stock sheer water computers but are also stockers and technical support centre for many other manufacturers including Divesoft, JJCCR, Hollis, Revo and Kiss rebreathers.
Based centrally in the UK, Narked at 90 also offer full rebreather head servicing for selected manufacturers.
Bespoke cable assemblies.
Advice on specific fitting requirements.
Suggestions and guidance for home builds.
Computer laser cutting and engraving.
Pressure testing to simulate 400 metre dives.
So, Narked at 90, a reputation built on supporting both manufacturers and divers worldwide.
Go to narkedat90.com and make sure you are following their social media to keep up to date with their latest news and offers.
Narked at 90, large enough to cope, small enough to care.
Hello and welcome to the BiG Scuba Podcast. We are on the harbour at Seahouses,
Northumberland, UK.
Welcome to episode 150.
7.
There we go. Teamwork. Yes, it's Sunday morning.
6:30 in the morning.
It is up bright and early, and we thought we'd do one of our roving reporting episodes. So this won't be a particularly long episode, but we thought we'd make one and release it all about this weekend.
Yeah, so we arrived on Thursday evening at Seahouses, B&B.
Hands up if you've been to Seahouses and you've been here before. Do you know the diving here? Because some really awesome diving going on here.
It's not actually on the land. It's out in around some islands called the Farne Islands, which are about 30 minutes boat steam out of the harbour here where we're standing. Yeah.
Lots of wrecks. There's a bit of something for everybody here. If you like seeing the wildlife, if you're a bit of a twitcher as well.
Puffins, guillemots, cormorants, all sorts here. Yeah.
There's the bird flu still going on here. In fact, that was only on the news a couple of days ago, wasn't it? About the news. So,
still suffering.
So you can't actually go walking about on the islands still. But you can get trips out to view the island. So if you're a diver and your partner's not a diver, perhaps there's something for everybody. So they can go out and see the islands as well. But you just can't walk about on them.
Yeah, they're quite historic as well. It's where the RNLI started with Grace Darling. So there's museums dedicated to her quite close by. There's castles on the coast. Bamburgh Castle's a famous one, which is just literally in our site here. So there's plenty to do if you're not a diver. But as divers...
That's right. And, well, no, I was just thinking I could pan around and show our viewers on YouTube when this goes to YouTube. So for you, if you listen to us on audio, you'll have to imagine a very rural harbour. The tide is out. There's boats, and they're all little fishing fishing vessels.
Yeah, we think there's quite a lot of lobsters, crabs around here. There's quite a lot of pots on the harbour, so that's kind of the little fishing industry here for the inshore fishery on this coastline.
Yeah, there is. So
so diving started on Friday morning. We loaded up on a boat, one of the Serenity boats, sovereign diving boats.
We should shout out to Crystal Sea Scuba in Norwich, who have organised this trip. Yes,
so there were 12 of us on the boat as divers, and we do 2 dives.
Some new divers, weren't there?
Yeah, so, and the schedule is we leave here about 9 in the morning, head out and do 2 dives with the surface interval of a good hour and a half.
Yeah. And
then we come back, and that's sort of early afternoon, so that's just the way the tides work, I think. So we've had Friday diving, Saturday diving, so we've had...
And then today, and then home tonight to sunny Suffolk.
Yeah, conditions have been really good out at sea.
The water's so calm, isn't it? Yeah. Even still this morning.
I know, and yet there's quite high winds forecast, so we're yet to see what will happen.
Yeah, there was only just us diving on the Friday. Yesterday there was a dive club from Clifton. Yeah. They were up. One guy drove all night, didn't he?
Yeah, from Bristol to Bristol. So shout out to Clifton Sub-Aqua Club.
Yeah.
Hope your diving was good, but we might see some more divers today. There's Billy Farnes is another boat company that takes divers out, and then Sovereign Diving in the Farne Islands out of Seahouses. Yeah,
and some really, you see some lovely things here, don't you? Nudie ranch, there's lobsters, crabs,
seals.
I saw. Well, there's lots of jellyfish about.
Yes, different species of jellyfish, and we've got some good shots.
The little blue ones, the big white ones. We've got some nice videos.
And I think someone had got a picture of a barrel jellyfish. So all sorts. Apparently this time of year. And
somebody said they saw prawns
and a squid.
And a squid, yesterday. I've never seen a squid. I saw a scallop yesterday, a little one.
Yeah. So it's just the terrain under the water is quite kelpy, seaweedy, and then you can get some areas where it's quite pebbly and rocky, but it's just...
Yeah, the great thing about this up here is that, when you book, if you tell your skipper and the diving, a diving company that you're going to be going with, you can book, you can tell them that you're either a new diver or your experience and what you're actually looking for from the dive, which is really good.
And they'll shape it to your needs and ability.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of the diving that we've been doing has been quite suitable for new divers, which is nice.
Yeah, the maximum depth we actually hit was 18, wasn't it?
Yeah, in our full face mask.
Yeah. So that's another part of our diving here. We're doing 1 dive in half mask. It's just standard scuba kit, and then we're using our Ocean Reef Neptune 3 full face masks on our dive too. Yeah,
and we'll do the same again today. So just because that's building our experience and building our depth experience in those masks.
Yeah, and it gives us a experience of normal.
And we discovered something yesterday, didn't we? So we were flicking through some of our media that we've been recording, and as we did so I've set a frame up, and I actually should probably take a photo of that and put that on social media.
Camera mount frame that you can put your GoPro on.
Yeah, and it's not an expert thing at all. It's just something I put together, and GoPro on it, and I'm holding it out, and the GoPro clearly recorded our conversation.
Yeah, so our full face masks have...
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, they have a digital comms kit, don't they?
Yeah.
So, yeah, we haven't said that, but so we can talk to each other underwater.
But I know, I remember in our training, John, our lovely instructor, very patient instructor, I should say.
John Osmond.
Yeah, he told us, didn't he, if you put a GoPro on your head, on your mask, that record the sound, and one I was holding.
Yeah, must have gone up your arms.
Must have done through the magic of recording.
Yeah, I had one mine was in a waterproof case, so that was a bit muffly, but we'll just keep adapting it and change it up, and then we can do some footage underwater.
Yeah, absolutely. So we will put in those show details details of the dive companies that we're using up here, and we're actually back here in September, aren't we?
Yeah, basically almost 4 weeks away.
Yeah. So but before we go there, we're at Lundy, seeing our friends over at Lundy for a day's dive. We're taking the Scuba Honey with us for a trip on that one.
Yeah. So again, that's hopefully going to be seal based, and also some seals. Action.
Some seals.
Yeah, the seals here have been not in huge quantities, and they're a little bit timid, so they haven't been very playful, have they?
I wonder whether some of them are pregnant.
Yeah, they look big. They're big seals here. Yeah. So, but yeah, there's been a few basking on the rocks, but again, we've had some pretty bad weather just recently, so it might have all gone to sea. So, but yeah, it's been good diving. Really.
The weather's not looking too great again today. So I've been in my 03 semi-dry wetsuit for the last 2 days, and I have to say, Tom, I've been really nice and warm actually. And the only time I was cold, I felt a little bit chilly, was when I got out of the first dive yesterday, because the wind was blowing fairly, and I was like, oh yeah, I do feel that. And then after that, I felt fine actually. But I've been warm enough in the water. Water temperature's been about 13. And yes, Gemma said 18 metres, and I still felt fine to be all right.
Yeah, the air temperature's been about 18-20 degrees, sunny mostly.
Yeah.
But today the forecast is only 14 degrees.
Well, the wind's meant to get up, and it's not windy at all, is it?
The sea's lovely and calm. Not any white water, but whether it's all going to change in the next couple of hours.
Yeah.
We're due to get on the boat at 9 o'clock.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to record some bits and pieces during today, and we'll do a final roundup just before we set off home. Really, and that'll be about today. What we should say is say thank you to a few people. Firstly, our lovely friends at narked90.com who sponsor us, and they help make all these trips possible. So we thanks to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look them up on their website if you're thinking about buying a rebreather. If you're thinking about buying a shear water, they've got UK stock. Most people, if you go buy one, they've got to go import it from Canada before you have it.
Yeah, so Narked can get you a shearwater computer within a couple of days. So they
Peregrine, Perdix,
anything from
Terric.
Yeah, anything from a new diver like the Peregrine, right up to all the technical, even the nerd.
Yeah, they do all that. So, if you're a twin setter, or if you're on a rebreather, or you're thinking about buying one, or you're thinking about, hey, where do I go get it serviced? You need to, speak to those guys, and they will help. Yeah. And we should say also thank you to everyone who listens and downloads this episode. So thank you very much.
Yes.
It all helps it. All worthwhile.
Yeah, and if you've got any questions about the Farne Islands, Seahouses, diving in the UK, then pop us a DM and we'll do our best to answer it.
Yeah, certainly will. So I'm going to finish off, and we'll do a quick pan round and show you the islands from here, and then we'll speak to you later. And something is now crawling up our...
the wildlife of the UK.
Just to show you it is actually live, we've got something crawling up the screen, which is really handy. Right. So on that note...
We'll show you.
We'll speak to you next on the boat. So, welcome back. And we are going to have a quick roundup of the weekend, really, Gemma.
Yes, you sounded a bit jaded then, but I'm not surprised because it was a busy weekend.
I know. We are back in our homes, and Gemma's over at Pakefield. I'd be in the centre of the universe in Bungay.
Yeah.
And let's talk about the weekend, really. So it's been a good one, really, hasn't it?
Yeah, so we've dialed in here, you heard us talking on the quay, and we were about to go out on the boat. So we had 3 days diving in the Farne Islands.
Recording didn't go to plan, let's put it like that, because it seemed like there was a force 10 gale going on.
Well, these things happen.
When we got out there, what was it, big Harkars?
Yeah, that was the last day of our diving. The wind did whip up, so the recording wasn't perfect, was it? So hence we're recording now. So we're just going to round up our diving. So we had 6 dives in total over 3 days with sovereign diving.
Yeah.
And we had a great time. So yeah, we got our full quota of dives in. So it is 2 dives.
So fast, doesn't it?
Whizzes by. And then, yeah, yesterday felt very tired.
Yeah.
But we did some good diving. It was quite varied, I guess, with depth and what we saw. Plenty of wildlife, not so many seals as in previous years, but just the way it goes. But we saw plenty of fish and lobsters and crabs and jellyfish, all different types, species of jellyfish. So,
and the wrasse that we saw, like these brownie coloured wrasse, and I've looked back actually on some other YouTubes going back of people who've recorded at the farms, and it seems like the wrasse are a very popular sighting at different dives around, and it seemed like they do this thing of hanging around the divers to see what they stir up, and then they'll go up. I suppose there's from the wash of people's fins, there's bits and little critters that get washed up, and then they kind of have a feast in the wash.
Yeah, and being part of this seafoody world, they are edible, but they're not widely caught. They do go around lots of rocks, so they're not species where they'll be caught very easily, but they live on crustaceans.
They're good size. I'd say they're probably about the size of a 5-pound mirror carp, something like that.
Yeah, they're definitely sizable enough to fill it off and fry.
You're getting a bit peckish, were you?
Well, I'd be quite interested in what they taste like if they live on crustaceans and things, because it's kind of that shellfishy. Yeah. So, but anyway, but yes, they were very inquisitive. Quite good-looking fish, weren't they?
They were. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have put a couple of things up on social media of our little footage of one of them. Particularly liked having a dance in the spotlight of my camera.
It did, yeah. So, but it was great to see. I
like it how their eye keep flicking at you, like they're watching you, and they're like, "What's what's going on?"
Yeah. No, they were darting about, and there was a good 2 or 3, 4.
Yeah, all good size.
Yeah. So, but no, it was great. It was nice just to see life underwater.
Yeah. So we went out. Ron was captain of the ship and took us out. And what's the name of that boat that we was on?
I think it's the Malmore, something like that. It's an orange catamaran.
Yeah. And you'll see it in the harbour. We've been on it a few times now. And it's a nice one to dive off. It's a nice size, isn't it? And we went to the Pinnacles first and dived that. And that was a really nice dive.
This was on Sunday when the weather whipped up a bit.
Yeah. And we were diving with the rocks on our right-hand side, weren't we?
Yeah, heading towards a boulder.
You said about a square rock. There's a big square rock there, and you'll see that, and you'll go. And he was absolutely right. There's a big square rock there.
Yeah, so and then it went all kind of bouldery and got a bit shallow, exactly as he said. And then
as he said.
Up.
Yeah. And then second dive, we were going to go to. We went up to the far side of the red and white striped lighthouse. Go dive the Harkars, and it just blowing a hoolie, and really was, and had whipped up quite a swell as well. And there was another boat out there. I think they were more of a sightseeing boat, and also there was a rib, and the guys were diving on a wreck called the SS
Abyssinia.
Yes, it. Yeah, and which was an old German boat. Actually, it was made in Germany in the turn of the century and requisitioned after the First World War. And then it was carrying, I think, maybe coal or something. And it got wrecked in the 1930s. And the prop shaft lay up against the wall. And you can actually follow that, and there's some chains which all sort of dotted about the wreck. But it's deep. It's about sort of
27, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's about 27 meters. So for most people on the boat, probably haven't dived those sort of depths for either a while, or they were new divers on our boat.
Yeah,
so it wasn't really appropriate really for us. But you know, yeah, they were out there having fun, but we had to turn around and go back to the Pinnacles because it was so rough the far side of that lighthouse, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that was the only sheltered part where we could go. So we then went back to the Pinnacles and did the dive in reverse, and it all looked so different.
It does.
It didn't look any way familiar.
And he said that, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
If you do that way, that look different. And
yeah,
absolutely right.
We jumped in at the big rock, and I'm thinking, well, where's all this seaweed come from? Because I thought it was quite barren when we went there before, but no. Obviously we saw the fish, and then popped up again and got picked up by the boat. Yeah.
You do have to look if you ever if you're new to if you're not dived that area before. You know, at first instance you think, oh, there's a lot of life about, but you have to look they get in the cracks and the little bit where there's a sort of a little bit of a cove in the rocks, and you have to get your torch in and shine it in because they're in there.
Yeah, and I noticed when you where there's a wall and it's covered with all the white and yellow
little barnacles and that,
and you put your finger near it, it suddenly goes, ooh.
Everything, it's like, wow, what's that?
So it may look. You have to really get in, don't you? And
you do, you do. You do.
Yeah, and apparently there were some sightings of some dolphins on the Sunday as well, and one of the other boats had radioed over to say that there were some dolphins around, which is good. So it's a nice, healthy sea, which is great to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fizz was okay, wasn't it? Really,
it was.
What was going on the surface? I thought the fizz was all right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many meters, maybe 10,
5, if not more.
I don't know. We could basically. That last dive, you could see quite a distance, couldn't you? When you and we were at kind 10? Of 16, 17 meters in depth, weren't we?
Yeah, it's good, weren't they?
Yeah. No, I really. So is that my third time diving? Second time? Third.
In what?
Diving at the Farne Islands or diving off a boat. Yeah, but I really enjoyed it. Yeah,
it's good, and we also dived in our Neptune 3 Ocean Reef full face mask, didn't we?
Yeah, we did, and that was
good.
Yep. So we did one dive, half masks, standard scuba setup, and then our second dive we put our full face masks on. So we split it up, and it's nice to have that flexibility. We're not exclusively diving one way or the other. It's just mixing it up.
Absolutely. I think it's a nice way of doing it. I think, especially as we're kind of building our own experience and of using these masks.
Yeah, and depth. That was the deepest we'd been. We'd only been out on the shelf at 6 meters, hadn't we?
Yeah.
At Stony Cove, so we took them down a bit deeper, and
18 meters, fine. I think, wasn't it? We got to.
Yeah, we need to do our dive logs.
Yes, absolutely.
We'll get that done this week.
Actually, I've got mine still here to do. And so Friday, Saturday, I was in wetsuit and felt absolutely fine. The only time I felt cold was on Saturday when I first got out of on the first dive.
Yeah, it was quite a bit breezy.
5 minutes. I caught the wind and I thought, I feel a bit chilly on that, but then it warmed up. And then on the Sunday, I went in on dry suit because the weather, they said it was going to be quite rough and wet. So I thought, I'm going to go in dry suit really. I
think you definitely made the right decision because we hadn't even worn our dry robes until the Sunday just to keep the wind. And
it's not the water's cold because the water's, when I looked at my logbook from previous years, before we even went up there, previous temperatures were all about, I think 12, 13 degrees is a kind of the temperature in the sea at this time of year. And that's probably about as warm as that will get right through till October now, until it then starts getting cooler. So, doing those dives up to about 20 meters in a wetsuit, fine. 40 minutes, absolutely fine.
Yeah.
So I had the 03 long john.
Short john.
Short john? Long
Short
john?
Yeah, so that's like what do you call it? It's like I don't know, it's like a tank top and shorts all in one, isn't it?
Yes. Basically.
You find yourself in it and then you put your semi-dry over it.
Surprising. I slip in like a racing snake and then into the 5mm wetsuit as well, and feel absolutely fine. So flexible, warm, and absolute fine.
Yeah, so it's
it's just a bit in between, the surf. So if it's going to be blowing a hoolie and throwing it down with rain, this time of year or later in the year, do you want to be in a wetsuit when it's blowing a hoolie? You're out there in all the elements, and so you do want to be warm. Otherwise, you're going to be cold before you even start your next dive.
Yeah, and you can only make the decision on the day or the day before when you know what the weather forecast is, really. So when
you have a conversation with Tom Wright from 03 and you go, "Hey, I'll go in my wetsuit."
Some people thought you're mad, but you proved them wrong.
Exactly.
But to be fair, there was another guy on the boat, Matt. He was in a wetsuit, wasn't he? With a shorty. Yeah. So he did that on Sunday as well.
He did. Yeah. Fair play to him.
Yeah. So it was, horses for courses. It's what you're happy with, isn't it?
Absolutely. So I think we should really say a few thank yous, and also just tell people about where they need to go to if they want to book up for their trip to the Farne Islands. What do you think?
Yes, yep. So for any people listening overseas, the Farne Islands are off the northeast coast of the UK, off the Northumberland coast. They're not very far off
Newcastle, and then look about 50 miles, 40 miles.
Yes.
Of Newcastle.
Yeah. The boat ride out to the islands is probably half an hour.
Yeah, half hour, 40 minutes, depending on where you're going to go.
Yeah, and I think there's 48 islands at low tide and 24 at high.
And a load of wrecks. There's about 230 odd wrecks that date back from like 1,000 years ago all the way through right up to, I think the last wreck was like in the late 80s, but that's gone. That got salvaged and it's no longer there.
But even as we said, if for non-divers or people accompanying divers that don't dive, it's a great place for sightseeing. There's plenty of castles to visit, great walks, great coastline. Edinburgh's only hour and a half away by car, and then there's plenty of lovely little like fishing villages down the coast, National Trust places. So even if you're not a diver, then there's plenty there to do as well.
If you're a twitcher,
lots of birds.
Lots of birds to look at. So there's loads up there. It's something for everybody up there.
Yeah,
and that's really good. This trip was organised by Crystal Seas Scuba of Norwich. So thanks to Polly for organising that one
and looking after us all on our trip.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you can dive with Sovereign Diving. You can look them up on Farne Island tours.co.uk.
Yeah, and they've also got Instagram accounts, which will be in the podcast show notes, so you can click and have a look. And there's plenty of places to stay in Seahouses, where the harbour is located. But look Sovereign Diving up. They've got very experienced skippers. They dive as well, so they know it like the back of their hand.
They certainly do. And if the skipper on the boat says, "Guys, we aren't going out today," or it's we're going to have to make for home because storms picked up or something like that, there's no argument. It's fine, absolutely fine.
Yeah,
it's cool.
Yeah, so that's Sovereign Diving. They run a fleet of boats, Serenity boats. They're catamarans as well. They take people out to the islands round. You can't go on the islands at the moment because of bird flu, but you can go on sunset cruises and sightseeing cruises around the islands as well.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, there's lots to see, and nice pubs in the area, and nice restaurants in the area.
Yeah, we had some nice meals out, and
we did. Yeah. And we should say hello to our hostess of the mostest.
Yeah, Maura,
where we were.
Yeah, Maura at the Malabar B&B. She looked after us. Amazing.
They make great cakes.
They do, and pack lunches.
They do. Yeah, kept us going.
Yeah,
so we should be seeing them again in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, when we're back up there. So, but yeah, they looked after us. Yeah, amazingly well. So very friendly people as well.
Yeah, they are. So. We should also say hello to O3 Typhoon International, Dan Europe and Ocean Reef. So we've been talking to them recently. So hello to those guys.
Yep. So hope to hear from you soon.
Yeah, and we should also say thank you to Nart at 90, our lovely sponsors who help make it all possible as well.
Yeah, no, big thank you to them. So we wouldn't be able to do some of these things without their support. And obviously, if you're in the technical world of diving, a rebreather diver, or even thinking about moving over, then those are the guys to talk to. They're there for advice. They're happy to talk to you. They've got kit you can look at, computers, all sorts, but they've got the experience.
Well, this is it. If you want a sheer water computer, they can put their hands on UK stock there and then and send it out to you. So if you're looking for a new dive computer and you want a sheer water, there's the Terek, there's the Peregrine, there's the Perdix, Nerd. They cover everything. They service rebreathers, even home builds. If you want advice on a rebreather, if you want parts for them, if you want some engraving done, ask them. They'll be able to sort you out. So.
Yeah, they're just with all their knowledge and their experience. Nothing is impossible. They've always got some kind of solution to something. So if you're stuck, give the guys a call. John Routley and Brent Hudson.
And their team. So they've got everything. So I think that's kind of covered everything, I think.
Yes, yeah. So the rest of the month, we haven't actually got any new podcasts coming out. We're going to sort of revisit some while we have a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
It's a busy month for all of us. So we've got a couple of trips
planned. School holidays. So we're having a little bit of a sit back for a few weeks before we pick up the microphones again in September.
Yes, yeah. And we've got plenty of guests booked in to talk to through September and October. And lots of exciting things happening.
There are, yeah. We've got some people of all sorts booked to come on and talk to, and some others that we're now still reached out to. And if you've got a last breath, there's a little hint.
Yeah, and of course, if there's any recommendations that you want to put our way for people to talk to, or if you'd like to come on the podcast, then drop us a DM or an email, and we'll happy to talk.
I know something I was going to say. This won't be particularly. This won't be particularly. There were news to the person who, if he listened to this, because he knows we've been having a discussion. But for people who know Lee Bishop and the people who we dive with, we're hoping to have him on over the winter to talk about UK wreck diving, which is really good. If anyone's been following Lee and some of the guys like Richard Collier, I forget that lady's name who is had on the boat.
Go to Lee. Yeah, Lee Bishop's Facebook.
Fantastic footage of them on the boat. And we were thinking of them on the Sunday, weren't we? The swells that they've been dealing with out in the English Channel, make up what we had, like a little ripple.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing difference. And it makes you appreciate what kind of level of diver
Yeah. And you think of the gear they got, and you think they've got to get all that back on board. you know.
Yeah. And even we obviously dived off a boat with a boat lift on the back. So obviously it goes down, you shuffle on it and you go back up. But even when there was a bit of a swell, it sways you around so much.
Oh, flip,
even trying to get hold of the
it's really important that when you get on that lift,
you have your regulator,
keep your regulator in your mouth. Regulator in, mask on, the whole lot. In case and why it's important that the people in the water are also away from the lift. Because if the person on the lift gets knocked off the lift, one, they're not going to fall on anybody. Two, they can sort themselves out because they've got the regulator in the mouth and they can breathe. So it's really important, and that they do that when they get on the lift of a dive boat.
Yeah, that was the first dive we did. I went up on the lift and the skipper was laughing a lot. And I was thinking, and I had brought a jellyfish up with me. The poor jellyfish.
It did survive. No jellyfish were hurt in our dive.
There's a rather big jellyfish right by my foot.
It went back down and it got washed back into the water, didn't it?
And that was the first, yeah.
It was actually, talking about that, there was quite a few crabs eating jellyfish, weren't there?
I think we saw some jellyfish. They were just like floating. They weren't alive, where they'd been like nibbled.
And the gooseberries. The gooseberries floating about in the water. They were awesome.
Yeah, jellyfish make some really good photography subjects, don't they? Yes. When they're just drifting around. And they weren't the ones with great big long tentacles. They were quite neat. They were the moon jellyfish, I think they are.
Yeah, white, and then there's the
white and blue ones. Yeah, so really pretty. So, and we've got a couple of shots of some seals that were a bit inquisitive here and there. You had one right behind you on a safety stop and had no idea. That's funny. So we've got it on camera. So everything. Yeah. So, but no, it was a great trip, and thank you to everybody that organised it, and hello to everybody that was on the dive boat. Great crowd. It was good fun. And,
a good crowd.
Looking forward to the next one.
We certainly will. So let us know if you've been out there. Let us know what you think to dive at the farms, and any recommendations or anything like that. That'd be good to hear from you. Any stories and experiences that we can share. That'd be really cool. Thanks for downloading this episode, really.
Don't forget our YouTube channel. There's going to be a few snippets of our adventures at the Farne Islands on there, so have a look. Please subscribe and give us a like and a thumbs up. That'd be much really appreciated.
Don't forget to leave a review of this podcast. That'd be really good, a 5-star review, because it helps your dive buddy finds us. It'd be really good.
Yeah, exactly. But
spread the word, and that'd be really good. And it's free to do so.
All free. Yep. What more could you ask?
Right, I've got to go, so I'll catch you later.
Yep. All right then. Well, thanks for downloading, everybody, and we'll see you soon.
See you soon. Thank you very much. Bye. Now that does wrap up today's episode of the BiG Scuba Podcast. But if you want to hear more from the podcast, make sure you hit that subscribe or follow button, depending on what platform you are listening on. That way you will never miss an episode from us. But if you are listening on Apple Podcasts and did enjoy what you heard today, we would really appreciate it if you head to the show page to leave a 5-star rating and review. It really does help us. If you do, please take a screenshot of that review and send it to us on Instagram, and we'll give you a shout out to say a big thank you. If you have any questions for us or anything that has been mentioned in today's episode, be sure to reach out to us on any of our social media platforms or send us an email. The links are in the show notes. We will get back to you no matter what. If you have made it to this point in the episode, we both want to say a big thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode.